right, so today we're going to be analyzing graphs, and this is one of my favorite things to do because it's really reading in math. So we're going to be looking at a graph and just really trying to interpret what's going on based on the slope of the lines in the graph. So in English, obviously, you're reading using a book. In math, we use a lot of graphs, and interpreting data is a really important life skill. It's fun. So anyways, our essential question, how can you describe a situation given a graph and sketch a graph when given a description? So in this example, we're going to be looking at a roller coaster park that is open from May to October each year. And the graph shows the number of park visitors over its seasons. So we're going to zoom in because I don't know about you, but I can't. Ooh, zoomed in way too much. There we go. All right. So if you notice that it starts out kind of flatline and then it increases and then it increases a little bit slower and then there's a steep decrease, right? And then it's gradually decreases. So segment 1, which is this one right here, shows the attendance during the opening weeks of the park season when it stays constant. So this basically means that there was like 50 people each week were coming to the park. So what does this segment 2 describe? So notice that segment 2, it increases, right? And it increases pretty quickly. So what that could, think about this being May, this could describe summer break, right? So summer, kids are coming out for summer, so there is going to be a steep increase, right? So that's basically what we're looking at. We're looking at the graph, and then based on by the information that we're given, we know that this is from May to October. Well, if this is May, then this is probably June, July. Kids are getting out of school, and there's going to be a spike in this park attendance. Actually, we won't even use it. We're going to be answering with words. So this represents the beginning, right, of summer when there is a spike in attendance. So then based on the time frame, give a possible explanation for the change in attendance. Well, it does represent the beginning of summer. So what is the explanation we came up? Well, school is out. Students are more likely to attend a roller coaster park, right? And they don't have school, right? We all go on vacation for the most part. We at least try to do fun things in the summer, right? So it's going to make sense that if the roller coaster park was in Lincoln City, we would head that way. So which segments of the graph show decreasing attendance and give a possible explanation? Well, it's increasing here, and even though it's not increasing as steeply in segment 3, it is still increasing because it's going up from left to right, right? That has a positive slope. So this is increasing, and then here, this is where we start to see that decrease. So segments 4 and 5. So segments 4 and 5. And then again, thinking about that time frame, this is from May to October. So this is probably September, October. When students are returning to school. So this is what I like about graphs, is that we can kind of get a lot, even though this is a simple graph, right? It's just going up and down. We can actually gain a lot of information as to the park's population based on reading it. That's kind of cool. So let's look at another example. In this one, Grace, Jet, and Mike are studying 100 words for the spelling bee. Grace started by learning how to spell how many words each day, but then learned fewer and fewer each day. So she started out by learning how to spell a lot of words, but then started to kind of taper off and learn fewer and fewer words. Jet learned to spell the same number of words each day. So every day he learned the exact same number of words. And then Mike started by learning how to spell only a few words, but then learned a greater number of words each day. We're going to match the person to the graph. So when I look at this graph, this is a line. And one thing that we know about lines is that they increase at a constant rate. And so the person that's learning at a constant rate is Jet. So this must be Jet because all of the others have some variability, right? So this one has to be Jet because I know a line increases at a constant rate. That's what we call the slope. And Jet is learning the same amount of words each day, which implies that he's learning at a constant rate. Now, if we look at this one starts out slow and then it has a huge increase. So who started out by learning only a few words and then had a huge increase? Well, Grace started out by learning how many words, a large number of words, but then did fewer words per day. So this has to be Mike because Mike started by learning only a few words each day, which this graph represents, and then learned a larger or greater number of words each day. So he started out with a few and then started adding more to his plate. So this has to be Mike. And then finally, the last one has to be Grace. She's the last one left. But then even just looking at Grace's description, she did start out by learning a lot and then started tapering off by learning fewer words each day. Oh, this one's about me. So Miss A provides a free math tutoring to her students every day after school. No one comes to tutoring sessions during the first week of school. Over the next 2 weeks, use of the tutoring service gradually increases. We're going to sketch a graph to show the number of students who use the tutoring service in the first 3 weeks. So again, we know that nobody comes to the tutoring session during the first week, and then over the next 2 weeks, it increases gradually. So what that means is that if I'm going to sketch my graph, then that means starting out here, she's not getting, and I'm not getting anything, but then I start to see this gradual increases, right? So, and that represents the first week, because the first week right here, nobody's here, but then I start to see more and more people each week. Miss A's students are told that they will have a math test at the end of the 5th week of school. How will this affect the graph? So thinking, do you think that more people are going to come to my tutoring service or less people are going to come to my tutoring service if they know a test is coming up? Well, if you're good students, you would expect that more people would start coming to the tutoring service, right? So how that was represented in the graph is a spike, right? So going back to this one, more people were attending the park. That had a larger slope, a steeper slope, right? We would expect the same thing in this graph is for the line to gain a steeper slope. So more students would attend, which implies the line would have a steeper slope. So kind of cool, not too easy. Again, it's just reading and math. So as long as you can interpret that from left to right, it increases, which is, remember when we were focusing on learning the positive slope, that's exactly what happens. And then of course, from left to right, if it's decreasing, that represents a negative slope, which means we're losing things. So pretty cool. And then try to answer the essential question, how can you describe a situation given by a graph, and sketch a graph given a description?